So welcome to Transform Gov, the Digital Government Podcast, and I'm Maeve Neefsey, your host. Transform Gov is part of the Ireland eGovernment Awards and it's brought to you in association with Accenture. And together we explore how digital innovation is transforming the public sector and reshaping the future of government services. So on this episode, we're joined by Liz Coffey, who is Head of Communications and Development with the National Library of Ireland, or we're going to call it NLI because it's a bit of a mouthful. So NLI, and whose team won the Multilingual and Internationalisation Ireland eGovernment Award category. So thank you, Liz, for taking time out to be with us on Transform Gov.
Thanks, Maeve. Delighted to be here.
Good. So when you took up your role as Head of Communications and Development, your very first meeting was about the website. So why was it so important that it was your very first meeting?
Well, I suppose it's in my mind because I joined to do communications, PR, marketing, public affairs. And the first meeting was about the website. And I was a little bit overwhelmed initially because I've zero IT background and very not good on IT. So after an initial meeting with the various departments and reflection, I suppose I realised that it did make sense for myself and my team to oversee the website because when you think about it, for most people, the website is their first point of contact with the NLI. It's where they get a sense of who we are and what we offer. It's important that the website communicates our values, and from the minute somebody lands on the homepage. So it's not just about making it functional, it's about, the experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it is, as you say, it's the first place people go. And it doesn't matter. You've got a really wide audience, which you'll talk about in a minute. But, that's where they're going to hit.
Sure.
And in terms of what was there already, what problems were you trying to solve?
Well, the website, which while it was used a lot, because we have our website, we also have our catalogue and our resources, which would be a lot of family history resources.
And they're all online as well, are they separately?
They're online and they're separate.
Okay.
But they were quite separate. You could get to them by getting on our old website, but it wasn't, intuitive. You had to find the page. So it really wasn't serving our needs, the website. It had been in place since 2006. It just wasn't functioning. So we needed, we needed something that would, I suppose, convey our mission of what we do. Our mission is to collect, preserve, and share the national collections of Ireland for the people. And then we've, a very, I suppose, ambitious vision to share the stories of Ireland with the world. Mm-hmm. So we wanted something, I say, that was visually engaging. And then we had some very specific, very, very specific needs. So we needed that whole search, we needed it to be more intuitive, that people could go from our website to our catalogue. So we had to reimagine the whole search thing. Mm-hmm. We needed a brand new website with a new functionality and a new CMS system. We're starting from content management system. We were starting from scratch. So we also needed, in line with, as the National Library of Ireland, we collect a lot of material in Irish, the Irish language. We have manuscripts from the 14th century to the 21st century. So we wanted it to be bilingual in line with the Irish Language Act that we're meant to. We wanted to go further than that. We wanted it to be, accessibility is at the heart of everything we do. So because our website was so outdated, it wasn't accessible.
So when you say accessibility, I mean, there's lots of standards, but it was it particular people in mind that you knew weren't able to access the website in the format that it was in?
Yes, wasn't accessible. I mean, there are international guidelines, content accessibility guidelines, and I think actually we're obliged by the public sector to be AA rated. And initially I thought, let's go for an A. Why are we going for a B? But to have AAA rated, you'd have a black and white website.
Okay.
So we wanted to be accessible. And in fact, in addition to having that written into our contract with the chosen supplier, we separately went out and got an accessibility audit We used IA Labs, who came in at the end of the process to advise, and then they audited the website. So they were looking at things like accessibility for visually impaired, hearing, that kind of thing. But in addition to that, accessible, I mean, one of the mantras we used when we were working through the content was a 13-year-old needs to be able to understand.
Okay. And when you were starting out, did you write what it is you strategically want to do with the website as well as functionally, and then go and find a partner? Or did they become part of the process of identifying what you were going to create?
No, we set out everything we wanted to do. Like I said, the accessibility, the Irish language, we wanted a payment function. We wanted a solution for ticketing. The National Library has events.
Huge amount of events.
An awful lot of events, both
Look at
on
it,
site.
It's really worthwhile. It's fascinating.
Yeah, sign up to our newsletter.
Yeah.
So we wanted, and we had an idea, all right, that we would work with a plug-in like an Eventbrite or so we wanted it to do that. Mm-hmm. So we had a very distinct list of things we wanted it to do that it wasn't doing for us. We also created our own content architecture, because we did, before we even went to tender, we, I suppose, laid out what it was we wanted. Now, as it happened, it coincided with starting the project with going into COVID. So that meant that, a lot of the things we'd planned, the workshops, the user workshops, all had to be done remotely, which, I mean, was fine. But so we would have internally, obviously, had, done surveys, spoken to a lot of the staff who are very invested in it. Then we would have done a survey with our readers. So the staff had very good ideas, because in addition to it was a very frustrating for all of us trying to communicate what they wanted. So people had very definite ideas from the inside about what they wanted the website to do. And then, of course, we needed to go outside to the end user to see, what it was they expected from a website. Again, one of the things I found very helpful was just looking at what other national libraries have done. Mm-hmm. Specifically national libraries. We looked at the National Library of Scotland, New Zealand, Wales. So, and they were always interesting. Some of them have newer websites than others. So we looked at all of those websites. So we came up with quite a specific set of deliverables. And, things like, we put into the tender, we don't need you to analyse the existing website. We know what's wrong with it.
Looking backwards.
We know it's terrible. So, but this is what we want. Mm-hmm. So that in itself, obviously because of COVID, it was slightly delayed, but that in itself took a number of months just to get that right.
And did you go as far at that stage as doing, because you've lots of different audiences. You've got international audiences.
Yes.
You've got audiences who want completely different things. Some people might want access to, whatever the material is that the library is storing, or it could be somebody who wants to go to an event or an exhibition.
Sure.
So did you do work on things like the user journeys before you went out to tender, or is that part of the work you did once you had found
Actually, interestingly, both.
Okay.
We did it ourselves before, and then when the website company came on board, we did it with them, which was probably useful to have people from the outside, looking at, but what about, the family who just happened to be passing, or what about, so we did both, I think, which was useful.
We should say who won the tender, because obviously that
it was Anertech and Big O who both, went as a joint application. Good. Big O were on the design side, and Anertech are the website company.
Okay. So I believe there's over 1 million manuscripts from the 11th century onwards from Ireland. So how does the website and kind of digital in general open up access? So what is different now?
I suppose, unlike other cultural institutions, we are the memory of Ireland. That's and a lot of our material is paper-based as opposed to museum. We also obviously collect digitally and increasingly digital material. So, like I say, even with a not functioning website, people were coming to our catalogue through our website. So a lot of our material can be the primary, before somebody visits the reading room, they would look at the catalogue to decide what it is they want to consult when they come in. So because we are largely a paper-based institution, people would use, online as just, people would use online to consult what it is we do. They would also, coming in for events, things like that, would come online.
And I think you also do, for example, online kind of, like webinars or lectures and all of that. So you're getting audiences from everywhere. From
around the world, And certainly during COVID, like everybody else, we went online a lot. And one of the interesting things we discovered was certain, things like, say, Yeats and fairy tales or Seamus Heaney, because we've both Seamus Heaney and Yeats, we've the largest collection of their archives of any institution in the world. Seamus Heaney and mindfulness, my colleagues were having to put on those events in the afternoon to accommodate people from Japan, people from America. So we have a huge, we've a significant online.
You've a significant reach, really, if you think about it. And I think that people just think, certainly I do, and I think about the library with what it can do for me, but of course it's opening up the library to the world, or Ireland to the world.
Yes.
And that is fully bilingual. Were there particular challenges? Are there best practices you learned in terms of the process?
Yes. There are challenges.
I know they weren't easy. I know.
So, in line with, all of the government, we're all trying to, use Irish more. Irish language, Irish material is very important in the National Library. That said, I lead a small team. None of us are fluent in Irish. So all of the content, we rewrote all of the content for the new website. That was all translated into Irish. So I suppose in addition to going out to tender for a web company, we also went out to tender for translation services. So all of the static content is in Irish, and we update it on a regular basis. So we do that. We export XLIF files to the translation company, and they come back. Now, in reality, there are occasionally things that happen, like we might have to close a reading room early, say, for instance, and we put that up on the website, and we don't have it translated in time. We have internal colleagues internally who translate, but by and large, the bulk of our website is in English and Irish.
And if you were kind of advising somebody who's now about to head out and really, really work hard on the multilingual aspect, particularly Irish-English, are there any things you learned that you'd kind of pass on to them? Do's and don'ts? If I had to do it again, I wouldn't do that.
I suppose be mindful of the fact that everything can't be translated, immediately. Also just the, we were fortunate in that we've worked with Sinosta, and we're working with a new company now under the tender process. But that there are very good translators out there, who will get the sense of different institutions, different companies. So to be honest, the process was quite easy enough once it's written into the system. We export the XLIF files, and they come back as if by magic, and we upload them. So it has been, the technology has made it quite easy.
Yes. So is that an automated translation management system?
Yes.
Is that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you brought one in, and it's worked for you.
It's worked very well.
Very good.
Yeah.
And in terms of, thinking about international audiences, are they looking for something different from the website? Like, what are they searching, and what are they most engaged with?
I suppose something that proves very, very popular with international audiences would be family history. We have an awful lot of resources. We've family history services. We've the parish registers online. So it's interesting now that we are able to look at the analytics of the new website. It's interesting to see, say, people coming from America on, and what pages they download or what URLs they use. So there would be a big interest in the family history services.
And the parish records have really filled that gap, haven't they? That we didn't have a huge amount of material that was burnt, right?
That's right, yes.
So has that made a big difference in terms of people's ability to track their families?
I think so, yes. Yeah. That would have been before my time when that whole project went on, but it's certainly, it's a wonderful resource. And then we would also have, when people come in, get a reader's ticket and come in and consult with our family history team or use the family history reading room, they would be able to access services that they might have to pay otherwise for.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
so that's
good.
a big,
I think for free is always a plus,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
And look, in terms of incorporating feedback from users, did you, particularly around accessibility, did you do that during the project so you could get feedback on what you were developing?
Yeah, as I said, we worked with IA Labs who came in close to the end. Now, I suppose one of the issues we had with the website, with COVID and everything was, and projects by their very nature, that it was, dragging on and on.
Yeah.
So we did come to a point where we had to do minimal viable product. We had to go, what do we need to get the website out?
Yeah.
And I mean, the nature of the website that we, that was used, this Drupal website,
yes,
we can still change it. Yeah, we're still actually user testing. We're constantly, we'll look at pages now. Are they working? Are they getting traction? So towards the end of the project, we worked with Anertech to, they knew that one of our requirements that was non-negotiable was, this AA rating under the international guidelines. But we went out to tender on that again, and IA Labs came in and they had suggestions. Now, there was toing and froing, because obviously some of their suggestions then they had a design implication. They didn't look as nice. So we had to make some calls on what to accept, what not to accept in bearing in mind it had to be AA rated. And then IA Labs did, when we were actually post-launch, they did an audit.
Okay.
And we continue, if we'd welcome any feedback from anybody. And again, I suppose even that accessibility, as in, we were saying a 13-year-old could understand it, like we're still constantly looking, the communications team, with our communications hat, that page is a bit dense, it's a bit word dense, could we cut it down? One of the great things about the website is we can easily have video content. So we're working on service videos, how to get a reader's ticket, how to consult the catalogue, because the way people are communicating, the way people get their information is changing.
Absolutely. We had Catherine Chambers from Falch Ireland, who's been doing huge amounts of work on their website, and she was saying that more and more, the top search engine is kind of going to YouTube because people just want you to use video content to find the information they're looking for. So you're obviously on top of that. And in terms of results, you've had a 40% increase in visits to events. Is that close? Is it 40% of that, or is it your visitor levels?
I'm just check if that is on the website, because website figures to see how important the website was. We changed, one of the things we did when we switched over to our new website was we changed our analytics provider. So we had been using Google Analytics and we started to use Matomo.
Okay.
So there was obviously then just a bit of distortion.
Shift. I understand. Yes.
But certainly our online visitors, since we've started now, March of last year when we launched the new website, have been increasing. And then certainly on-site, like a lot of cultural institutions, on-site visitors, are returning to pre-COVID levels, but we also now do on-site, online events. Certainly we've looked at certain things like readers' tickets. The amount of people who've applied for readers' tickets in the National Library increased by 84% last year. And we
84.
credit, huge increase. We would credit part of that to the fact that, it's so much easier now for us to run campaigns on the website, sign up for a reader's ticket, come in and see this, for us to display items from our catalogue, items that are digitized. So those kind of figures are very encouraging.
Good. Excellent. And what do you think about the future? What are the next kind of set of ambitions for you with your kind of online offering for the public? Yeah,
well, I think the great thing about Drupal that was chosen, it's a kind of a modular building block system, so you can constantly change it. So which was really reassuring when we were talking to, internal colleagues, that, were worried that their department maybe wasn't going to be as prominent on the website, that we're able to change things around. So we're constantly testing. So we were looking at our e-resources there a while ago and seeing how many people downloaded them. And, maybe if we change them around, we can see, do the figures increase. I'm fortunate enough to have a graphic designer who she just joined when we took the project on. And she's been, she was a huge, huge help.
A good decision then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, generally the look and feel of the library has increased having an in-house graphic designer, but having her on board. So we're able to really experiment. So we're constantly testing. We're looking at our online exhibitions. Again, because we needed to get the website live, we kind of left them. So we're looking at redeveloping them, more video content, and just constantly testing it and seeing what works.
Well, when anybody goes on, I encourage you to go on. It really is a fabulous site. And there's so much variety, so many things going on in the library that you just don't think about until you start exploring the website. And I suppose there's two other things. One is there's new plans for the library, isn't there?
There are.
Very exciting plans, right?
Yes,
Do you want to fill us in a little bit of that?
Sure, yeah. We have what is known as the West Wing of the National Library, which is attached to the library.
Physically
it's 6
on the west.
stories, physically on the west side of the library. It is 6 stories. It used to be used, it was a former book repository. So it was built in the Victorian era. So what the Victorians thought as safe storage for books was basically a giant chimney, with fireplaces.
It's a fire hazard.
I mean, up until, we started the project, there were newspapers stored in the basement. So it started in earnest, the reimagining the National Library in 2017, when all of the material was moved from the West Wing to safer book storage. And we now have 6 stories facing onto Kildare Street.
Wow.
So planning permission has been approved. So what it will be, we will move our exhibitions. We've a Yeats exhibition. We've Seamus Heaney down in Bank of Ireland. We'll have temporary exhibition space. That'll enable us to show the 12 million items.
So you can rotate things which are kind of often not seen unless somebody goes and looks for them, right?
Exactly, yeah. We'll have learning spaces for the public to come in and use. We will have a cafe, a shop, and then more, where people can come. Obviously, we've known for our beautiful reading rooms, but areas where people can come and sit, and I suppose more casual areas.
Have a coffee and read a book.
Yeah. So it's very exciting.
So when do you think that's going to be open to the public?
Well, the plans are we'd aim to have it in line. We'll be 150 years in 2027. So that is the plan.
Fantastic. I can't wait to see what happens. And I'm sure you'll have to reflect it. And because you're using a website that you can kind of iterate.
Yes.
It should allow you to
it'll
adapt
be incredible.
that and wrap it in.
We'll have, I mean, one of the plans is we'll have a new shop, to have an online shop. So the great thing about our website now is, what we can do with it in the future.
Yeah. That
we can add things on.
Becomes an organic growth. Well, look, I have another very important job to do because Liz couldn't actually be at the Ireland E-Government Awards in September. So I said, somebody asked me where the award is. And I said, well, I'm not giving it to her until she comes in here.
I hope I've earned it.
The award. This fabulous award, isn't it gorgeous? And I'd like to congratulate you.
Thank you,
on winning the award.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
So there you go.
Thank you so much.
So thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. I know you're busy, so congratulations on winning, but also thank you very much for joining us. So also have to thank the wonderful team here in South Dublin Podcast Studios. So producer Conal O'Moran, studio manager Peter Rice, video editor Neil Horner, and sound engineer and videographer Lee Brennan. So thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Maeve.